The Romans had many, many different gods. God of war, god of the sea. But I think the most interesting one, at least to me, was a god named Janus. Janus was the god of doors and gates. A door represented both an entrance and an exit, life and death, beginnings and ends. And it's actually that last piece that I find so interesting. You see, Janus, in the picture here, was depicted as a two-faced god. Janus had the ability to look forward and backward. In fact, if you've ever wondered why we call it the month of January, it comes from Janus. January is the month where we can look to the year ahead and the year behind us. This is the underpinning idea of foresight. Foresight is not actually about crystal balls. It's not about predicting the future. It's about understanding the past to think about how the future will impact us as designers, as strategists, as leaders. Is it easier to think about the future 1 year from now or 1 decade, 10 years from now? So let's think about an example for just a moment here. What does the future of cryptocurrency look like a year from now? Does anyone want to make a prediction? Pardon me? Okay, so you're predicting the value of it. What about the acceptance of it? 1 year from now. Next year at the Congress. It's very difficult, yes? 10 years from now. Does anyone challenge that we will be using some form of digital currency? So in some ways, and the topic itself isn't really the purpose of the debate, but in some ways we can actually look further into the future because we are not talking about certainties, we're talking about trends and where things are going. We could apply the exact same argument to robotics and automation as well. We may not know what's happening in 1 year from now, but we certainly know that in a decade we will have automated more of our kind of mundane, monotonous tasks than we ever have in the past. So, my name is Ramy. I live in Canada. In a past life, I ran innovation for Mattel. I teach a few different courses on design thinking, entrepreneurship, and innovation. And for today, I want to talk to you about a few examples of how you can use foresight, whether we call it strategic foresight, UX foresight, it doesn't really matter, to spark conversations and thinking a little bit longer term and strategically about the products, services, and platforms we are all designing. So I want to share with you a story. I was working with a client. This is their product, deli meats. They're an American company called Boar's Head, and they made deli meats. They were flying to Canada to do a workshop with my team and I picked up a magazine. It doesn't exist anymore, but it was the magazine of foresight. So there was actually a whole magazine about strategic foresight at one point. They didn't have the foresight to know that print would go away a little bit, but there was an incredible article in there. What they had done was they had made 10 magazine covers from the future. Now the date was March 2020. 5 years earlier, they produced this, and they were predicting or talking about this notion of the end of waste. So we shamelessly stole this idea. Our designer made a copy of this, but we talked about the end of meat. And instead of putting it on a screen, we printed it 3 meters tall.